And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at an escape room game called Break-In Alcatraz. Actually, it says to escape, you must first break in. This is a game in which you're going to open this box and then break into Alcatraz. It actually follows the plot of the book/movie, since supposedly, officially, no one's ever escaped from Alcatraz successfully, but maybe they did, and that's what this game is about. It follows that book, or at least to my recollection, follows it pretty strongly, and that's what you are in this game. You are a group, but you're actually a single prisoner, breaking into Alcatraz to help break people out. This is an escape room game. It says about 2 hours. I feel that that's pretty accurate. You're going to try to solve a bunch of puzzles to win. Here is a little bit on how it plays. So I'm going to show you a little bit here in the box without really hopefully spoiling anything in it, but the box is this weird shape, which is hard to fit in the shelf. But in the box, you're going to be getting a deck of cards, and these are some of the cards, and then here you can see a map of Alcatraz, and at some point in the game, it's going to instruct you to open it, so you'll open the sides of it like this, and you'll find various things inside the box. And then you'll be able to open that, open that, open that. Now, there are cards in the game. These cards have symbols on them. You're going to be trying to figure out how to draw these cards. As you look around the box and things, if you find a symbol, you simply can read that card. There's a symbol. There's a symbol. Whenever you find a symbol, you can read those cards. Some cards have clues on them. Some of the clues are written with this, I call it Captain Crunch because I read it back in the day. These clues, you look through a little red glasses thing to read them, a little red radio signal on them, and they can also just tell you how the thing is. Some of them are going to give you puzzles that you'll be using to solve the game and go through the course of the game. Some of them give you some exact steps on what you need to do in case you're a little confused on how to do things. But what the game does is it's going to come with these 7 strips here. And these strips have 2 different ends to them. There's a symbol at the end of each of these strips, and they're also double-sided. There's also 3 lines, green, blue, and red. And most of the puzzles in the game, the solution to solving them, you'll look for different spots to put these strips in. So let's say I figured out I need to put it in spot 1. I need to use this pipe symbol, and I need to go to the red line. So I will find that spot. I'll stick this in there up to the red line, and I will look at the symbol that's showing there. Also dropping everything else out of the box while I show that to you. Now, if that symbol shows a card that you haven't drawn yet, that means draw that card. It means you successfully solved that puzzle. And that is the method that the puzzles are solved. The cards will also give you ideas of what to do and where to go next. There's not a lot more I can show you without spoiling things, but there are a lot of different puzzles in the game. You'll just keep revealing more and more cards that will give you puzzles, and you'll be using the various strips that are found in the game and sticking them in different areas, trying to see if you get the symbol that you're looking for. So, disclaimer before I get going here, I played a lot of escape room games. This is the first of the break-in games that I played, but I played 30, 40 different escape room games. So I'm coming at it looking at this. And the gimmick here is you're breaking inside, which isn't really any different than breaking out. I know it's like, hey, it's the opposite of an escape room. How do you play it? Exactly like an escape room. Okay, fine. So there's that. And I don't mind that. That's an interesting gimmick. The storyline here, and there is a lot. I mean, there is a lot of reading in this game. And because of the lot of reading in this game, the biggest flaw of this game, in my opinion, is it says 1 to 6 players on this, and it is clearly, at max, a 2-player game. Could even be 1-player game. I played with 3, and halfway through, the third person got bored and wandered away. I couldn't blame them. Me and the other person, my wife, we continued to play through it, but there were many times where she was working on a puzzle and I was sitting there waiting for her to accomplish it. Or I was working on a puzzle and she was waiting for me. You're kind of working on usually 1 puzzle at a time, or even if you are working on multiple puzzles, there's a couple areas where there's multiple puzzles. It's the same area, and it's the kind of thing where you have to pick it up and look around and look inside and do all that sort of thing. And so, yeah, there's a group. I found that problematic. Also, They tried to make the game so you could reset it, and there are clearly puzzles in here that are paper and pencil puzzles, which again, they tell you to get paper and pencil. You can solve them that way. But there's some things that'd be a lot easier if I could just write on them. But because they want you to reset it, you can't. And it just makes the puzzles harder, and I feel like it makes them harder for no reason, because I have to sit there and with my eyes do something rather than be able to trace it. And then the other problem with this is that because it's three-dimensional, not everything opens up flat. There are some puzzles where you're kind of doing this and looking around, which again brings me back to one person's doing it, but also makes it again more difficult to do. And I didn't find it added a lot of fun. Now that being said, there's a few puzzles in there pretty good, but there's a lot of reading. There's a lot of story. There's a lot of stuff going on, and sometimes some of that stuff that you look at, you need to find in the future. I mean, or you'll need to, you'll use those clues later on. So you can't really get rid of cards. Most of the escape room games, unlock and exit games, are the two biggest ones. When you're done with a puzzle, you're done with that puzzle. Here, you might be done with stuff. You might find something you'll need later on, but I'm never sure what to keep and what to get rid of. The gimmick, though, of taking those little strips, which feel really cheap, and sticking them in, I find that problematic. I get it. Every single escape room game is going to be, you need to find a code. That's how most of them are. Unlock, you type the code into the app. Exit games, you spin a spinner, a dial, 3 dials, match them up, and see if you succeed. They want to do the same thing, but they're like, okay, the dial's already been done, and the app's been done. Okay, so we're going to find 7 strips, find the right symbol on that strip, and put it down to a line. That's fiddly, and it feels like it's being different just to be different. I highly dislike that way of solving this. So, yes, you're like, Tom, is there anything you liked? Well, I like the story. I like the idea of breaking into Alcatraz to break somebody out. The puzzles made thematic sense. Some of them were pretty cool puzzles. There was some interesting ideas in it. It just felt like it should have been a solo experience for the most part. And there were a couple puzzles where I thought they were a little hazy on what they needed. I hated the clue method, looking through that red thing. We were putting the red thing up to our eye because putting it on it and sliding around was annoying. I disliked, sometimes it felt like there was a lack of direction on where you were supposed to be looking at. There were a couple things, and I thought, that's a little far out there on how that ends. And the final thing of this game wasn't even a puzzle. It was kind of just, you'd have to get there to see, but it wasn't a puzzle to do the final thing. I don't know. I was very disillusioned with this one. I like escape room games a lot. Some of the puzzles, including one of the final puzzles, which I was pretty good at, thanks to me having played Minesweeper on a computer for a while. There was a puzzle like that. But a lack of direction, a lack of focus, feeling like this is trying to be different than not, I would be hard-pressed to try another one of the break-in games. And if I do play another one of the break-in games, I may do it by myself or maybe just me and my wife, because I feel like there's having the big, like one of the things we like to as a family is get together and do these escape room games, and there's just too much here. It's too hard. A lot of the story is interesting to me, but boring to everybody else. It's like, all right, enough with the story. Let's get to because the story's not gripping enough to be like, ooh. No, it's like, come on, okay, let's get through the story so we can get to the next puzzle. So some people may like this. I think it's more gimmicky than not, but that is Break-In Alcatraz. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment, not for me. This escape room.